Okay, this is a good one. Frank Gore went on the radio and said he would love to wear that Niners jersey one more time. Should the Niners re-sign him?
I'll start. Yes. And of course, if he's signed, he's the third best running back in the room behind, at least at this stage in his career, behind Raheem Mostert, behind Jeff Wilson Jr. If you look at his production last year, yes, he played on one of the worst teams in the NFL, the second worst team in the NFL, and had 650 plus rushing yards. He's still a very productive running back, but this signing wouldn't be so much for him to step onto the field and produce. And it's not just he's Frank Gore. He's meant so much to the franchise. Let's bring him in. There's more value here. And what my mind goes back to is the week 6 game, whatever it was, week 5 against the Dolphins when the 49ers are getting blown out and there's players on the field banging on their chest after making a play when they're down 25, 30 points. The lack of leadership in the locker room and accountability is befuddling. And Frank Gore, his leadership and his wisdom alone would do wonders for this young team. And Grant, you were just talking about how Kyle Shanahan may not be the best leader or lacks leadership qualities. You need all of the leadership in the locker room as possible whenever that's the case with the head coach. And that's why once Joe Staley left, you see Trent Williams, Mike McGlinchey talking about how I think I played a fine game after just watching them get beat time and time again. So Frank Gore brings a lot to this team right off the bat, and it's not just on field. And you can't forget, he can still produce on the field. Someone replied to one of my tweets earlier today when I was advocating for Frank Gore coming back saying he's not a scheme fit. He's a grinder. I think there's room for a grinder on any roster in the NFL. It doesn't matter what your scheme is. If you're going to pick up tough yardage, there's always going to be value there. And then the history with Frank Gore, the leadership he brings, it's 100% worth it. And if you look at Tevin Coleman and Jerick McKinnon, Tevin Coleman had one of the worst seasons for a running back I've ever seen. So having a guy like Frank Gore come in, yes, 100% the 49ers should bring him back. And he's willing. He wants to come back.